guys, happy Friday. Welcome to 5 Question Friday. I'm Sarah of Expat Croatia. If you have never joined me before, for this little thing I do on Fridays, every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatian time, I answer 5 questions about Croatia that people have submitted throughout the week on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, emails, expatcroatia.com, people who flag me down the street, friends who bug me on WhatsApp. Did I miss anything? I feel like I did. Oh, and my consulting sessions. So I've got 5 questions for you today, but before we jump into that, there's just a couple things I want to talk about. First, Ukraine. So we have been working on a number of things. We're in cooperation with the Digital Nomad Association to help any Ukrainians who are trying to enter Croatia. And we got an announcement today that the EU Commission has made an exception to asylum rules. So instead of applying for asylum, they can just enter Croatia or enter any EU country without having to apply for subsidiary protection or asylum, which is fantastic. We're going to put up a post later today on Instagram that has a summary of what that exactly means. We're also going to put that on our website. We did put up an article this week about asylum that really gets into the nitty-gritty, because you know how we do nitty-gritty here at Expat Croatia, but it's all very intense for anyone who actually wants to apply for asylum. So we're going to include like a very brief summary at the beginning for anyone who really just needs kind of the exactly what it is that they need to do. But there's really not much to do. You just show up in Croatia, you can be here, period. So that's really great. I'm super glad that the EU Commission did that. We also are going to have a post up in the next day that is includes all the ways that you can help Ukraine from Croatia or abroad for that matter. But drop-off locations where you can drop off supplies, what kind of supplies they're looking for, as well as places where you can make a donation that we know is actually going to get to Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So we're doing everything we can. If anyone out there is in trouble and needs help, we are here for you. So just contact us through social media or through expatcroatia.com. We're happy to help in any way that we absolutely can. There's one other thing. Women's Month. So this is our first week of Women's Month. Every day since Tuesday, we have been sharing our 2022 winners with you here on Instagram. We're so proud of them. They're such amazing businesses, and as I mentioned to anyone who's watched this before, is we have 30 winners who are promoted across our social media. Those are small businesses, and then we have 5 businesses that have been open for longer than 5 years, and they are big winners that were interviewed for expatcroatia.com. So our first interview was with Eva Silla of Secret Zagreb. That was published this past Tuesday on expatcroatia.com. It was an extraordinary interview. It was such a privilege to talk to her. So if you have not seen that, I would encourage you to go read it, because she says some amazing stuff, and it was really, really nice to learn her perspective of running a business in Croatia. And then next week, I'm going to be publishing my interview with Tabitha's Glass Emporium in Crkvenica. I feel like I always say that city wrong. Actually, no, she's in Drvenik. Excuse me. So that is coming out next week. I just finished editing that this morning, which is really exciting. And then we have 3 more interviews after that with 3 other female-owned businesses in Croatia. So we're going to keep on rolling with this, and it's been a really big endeavor for Team Expat, and we're just so proud that we get to share all these amazing businesses with you guys. So thank you so much for all your support on that project, and everyone who made a nomination. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So there's one more thing I want to talk about before we dive into the questions. So we, on our website, we have this cool little form thing that like you can fill it out, and it tells you within 60 seconds whether or not you qualify for Croatian citizenship. It's a really neat thing. We built it. Yeah, I know. Morella's looking at me like, really? And I'm like, yeah. This predates you, Morella. So I understand why you don't know about it. Although I have been meaning to talk to you about it. But anyways, in due time. So yes, we have this form. You can find out very quickly if you qualify for Croatian citizenship. It has all the different kinds of bases, I guess. So predominantly when people fill out that form, it's because they're married to a Croatian or they are someone with Croatian heritage. But from time to time, people fill it out and they select the I provide a quantifiable benefit to Croatia. And that is Article 12. Article 12 is what I'm applying for citizenship based on, which is special interest. So you provide some kind of quantifiable and verifiable benefit to the country. Now, whenever people fill out that form, so far in the 2 years we've had that form up, the only people that we've gotten are people like, I'm a teacher, I'm a doctor, I do such and such, but they don't live here. And that's not what that means. So we got a couple more of those this past week, and so I wanted to actually address it publicly. First of all, to apply for that, you have to be living in Croatia for 2 years minimum, period. But aside from that, a quantifiable and verifiable benefit is not like you have a skill and you do a job, because most of us have a skill and do a job. You know, it has to be something that's above and beyond. Let's put it that way. For example, one person I know who some of you may follow is Ashley Fulburn. She's a travel coach. She did a series called Wonders of Croatia. She gained citizenship based on Article 12. Michael Freer, who did a 5-question Friday with me last year on business, he's applying based on special interest as well. He makes me feel like I'm a bad person. He's such an angel, honestly, and does so many community projects. Every single thing he does has some kind of social element to it. So he definitely is like the case of what Croatia is looking for. Like I said, I'm also applying based on that. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that, because whenever we talk about citizenship, we usually always talk about people who are applying based on descent, but we don't really talk about that option. So I wanted to make sure I clarified that for everybody. So that's it for that. Now we can dive into the questions. What do you think, Marilla?
Yay!
She's super excited. She's doing a happy dance and cheers and jazz hands. Okay, so this first question comes from John on Instagram. I have a question regarding your last post. So if I'm an EU citizen, resident in Croatia, working under a Croatian contract, and driving a car from another EU country with a driver's license from that country, am I illegal? Thinking emoji. Yes. Yes, you are illegal. So if you're a resident in Croatia and you have a car in Croatia, and it's from another country, you have to register it here. You have to formally import it and register it in Croatia within 6 months. Otherwise, yes, it is illegal. If you're here less than 6 months, you're not a resident, you're a tourist, then you don't have to register your car. But more than that, yes, absolutely. Thank you, John, for that question. Next, this is from Patrizio. This was on my consulting call this week. For the digital nomad permit, can I show my company bank account as proof of income if my personal income does not meet the requirements? So with the digital nomad permit, it's different than any of the other permits because you have two options for showing your income. One is you show your pay stub for the last 3 months, or your bank statements for the last 3 months to show that you make enough income above the threshold, which is 17,000 kuna. But if you don't make enough, you can show one lump sum on a bank account. So he says that his monthly income doesn't go above that threshold, but that he does is his company itself has a bank account that has the yearly amount in it. So can he show that? If it's not in his name, it's in his company's name. And I double checked with our lawyer about this, and what she said was yes, he can, as long as he can prove that that company he's the registered owner. Which for the digital nomad permit he would have to do anyways because of his proof of purpose. He would have to show documentation that he has a registered company. Not everyone does. Every single digital nomad permit application is different, so I want to make sure I don't confuse anybody. But in his case, he owns a company. That's his proof of purpose. So yes, if you show that he's registered, then yes, absolutely. All right. Next, this comes from Mark. This was also on a consulting session. So Mark's wife, Jessica, she actually applied for Croatian citizenship, and their 2 children, last year through one of our lawyers. And I had a consulting session with him yesterday because him and his wife are considering moving to Croatia when they retire. And he said, we aren't the type of couple that just wants to read books by the fire all day. we will want to meet other people. Morella's giggling. Ah! I feel like I need to turn your giggle into a drinking game.
Yeah.
So, it's very easy to meet people in Croatia, although, of course, it's going to depend on where you are. If you're in the village, then it's going to be a bit more challenging.
Yet everybody will know what they're doing at every minute of their life.
Did you hear that? If you didn't hear that, Morella?
If you live in a village, it will be harder to make friends, yet everybody will know your whereabouts at any moment, at any time.
True. Fact. Did we put up how to understand a Croat on social media this week?
No, but it's in the article.
Okay. We had a new post that we published this week on how to understand the Croatian culture, and we talk about being spied on. So that will maybe go up this weekend. We'll see. But at a minimum, it's on expatcroatia.com. Okay, so we've gotten derailed here. We're talking about Mark and Jessica and how they can make friends in Croatia. So there are more than 70 expat groups on Facebook now, which is bonkers. We have an entire list of them, so if you want that list, just send us a DM. We'll be happy to give it to you. I'd say Zagreb and Split are definitely the places where the most expats are. Split has the most active group, in my opinion. And it's really easy to meet people in these groups. Like, you just go in there and be like, hey, I'm Mark. I'm from America. This is my wife Jessica, and these are the things we like. Would anyone like to go get a coffee? And then you'll have responses within like 20 minutes. I mean, I feel like people are pretty friendly and want to meet each other, and, you know, we're all here for the same reason, because we love Croatia, or like Croatia, at least for a little while. And everybody's pretty friendly for the most part. I mean, there's jerks. There's bad apples everywhere. I'm not going to lie. That's just how it is. But for the most part, everybody's pretty nice and is willing to meet new people. And if you're an introvert here, like, you can absolutely function as an introvert here. But I feel like it's, speaking as a former kind of still introvert, I became more of an extrovert since moving here. Like, Croatia helped me kind of get out of that shell, helped me kind of break through my social anxiety that I have, which it's still there to some extent, but like, it's definitely gotten a lot better. And I have talked about that publicly here on Instagram, but also on expatcroatia.com. I'm very honest about my tremendous social anxiety that I have, which sometimes has threatened my ability to feed myself, but, you know, that's a topic for another day. So anyway, so yeah, it's easy to make friends, especially with the expat groups, and Croatia runs on Facebook. I mean, there are a lot of people these days who aren't on Facebook, which, oh, you guys are so lucky. But that's where everything is. There are some meetups on meetup.com, but really most everything happens through Facebook, and that's just kind of the way it is. That being said, since I'm here talking about meeting people, I restarted the International Book Club here in Split. So if any of you guys want to join the book club, we're having our first event in 5 years on March. I know. Well, okay, here, this is what happened. Let me tell you what happened. So 2015, I believe it was, there were some expats here. They started the first co-work in Split. And they closed it and left Croatia because apparently a close friend of theirs opened up another co-work and copied a bunch of their shit. Does that sound familiar? And it just really put a bad taste in their mouth. So they closed it, and I bought a bunch of their stuff. And then I inherited the book club as a result. And then I did the book club for a year, but no one ever showed up. It was me and like one friend. And then I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not a book club. It's me and my friend. She's my roommate. I see her every day. That's not a book club. That's us going to a different location to have coffee. So I shut it down, or I just abandoned it, I should say. Anyways, I've been wanting to restart it for a really long time, and so I restarted it. But it's a cool kind of book club where there's no homework. So we're just going to come and talk about what books we're reading. And then if you have like actual real like old school books and you don't want them anymore, you can come and leave a book and then you can take a book. That's it. Low maintenance. So if you want to join, March 15th, it's going to be at the Works co-workspace in near the hospital. And if you want the information, just send me a DM and I'd be happy to show it to you. Send it to you. Yeah, that. All right, next. Next question comes from Heather. This was also from a consulting session this week. We want to go to a wedding in June. Can we leave Croatia before our digital nomad permit is approved? This is a great question. So I feel like I have not talked about it yet. Morella says no. So it must be true. Okay, so here's the deal. When your residence permit is in process, technically you can leave Croatia. You should not. You should not do it if you can help it. Why? Because the police do a check. They come to your place of residence that you say that you are, whether that's your accommodation or some long-term apartment or whatever address it is that you give them when you apply, to see if you're really there. And if you're not there, then that officer goes back to MUP and it's like, hey, this person's not there. And then it jeopardizes your residence application. That's no good. And sometimes they will send like a blue envelope that you have to sign for with the Postalar. No, Postalar is the shoe people. What am I thinking of? The postman. What's the Croatian word?
Poštar.
Poštar. That's what I'm thinking of. Poštar. Just thinking of
Cipela.
the words are similar, Morella.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you're not there to sign for it, again, jeopardy. So that is one reason. Another reason is because, look, stuff happens. There's human error. Sometimes applications get lost. Sometimes they get deleted. These things just happen. So like if you leave Croatia and you come to the border and there's some issue, like you're not in a system or whatever, they could stop you at the border. And this happens. It happened to some consulting clients of mine a couple months back. They were traveling with their family. Their application hadn't been approved yet. There was an issue with their application and it was not in the system, let's just say that. And they got stopped at the border in the airport in Split at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Their kids had school on Monday morning, and they ended up spending the night in Split Airport until their lawyer could work it all out. So it's best not to leave. Now, look, we all have lives. We all have things to do, and there's just no way to know how long your application is going to take in process. So, like, you got to plan your life. So sometimes you got to leave, and that's okay. It's just, if you leave, there's certain steps you need to take to make sure that you don't end up spending the night in Split Airport. So, what you should do is you should go and tell them first. Tell them that you need to leave for these dates, and ask them for a confirmation, a quote for that you are in process. So that way when you come back into Croatia, you can give them that confirmation so that they see that you're in the system and you can get across the border and you don't have a problem. So transparency is always best with the police. It's not a situation where you should just do it and then ask for forgiveness later. The police do not care for that kind of situation. So I'm glad I got the opportunity to share that. Thank you, Heather. All right, so this is the last one. Now, I'm going to call this person Silvio. That's a fake name. Well, it's a bit of a personal situation, and I want to... So, I've modified the details of this situation so I don't out this person. But it is a situation that I think is important to discuss. So, Silvio contacted us on email. Do we have a question, Morella?
Lost connection. I think it's going.
Okay. Alright, so Silvio got married in, let's say, Rijeka, last year. His wife is a Croatian national. He is Brazilian. They live in Scotland. And they wish to divorce. So could you advise on what the next steps are? So there's a little bit to unpack here, and I will also share my situation. Alright, so when you get divorced in most countries, you can only get divorced there if you have lived there for the previous 6 months. That's how you get jurisdiction on where you can divorce. Now, they don't live here, so that would mean that they would need to wait 6 months to, since they're living in Scotland, to be able to get divorced there. Now, if they still have a registered address here, they could theoretically get divorced here, because then Croatia would know if they're still registered as residents here, although that's illegal, so they shouldn't be, because they don't live here. Now, when you don't have, if you get divorced in Croatia, there's 2 procedures. There's one if you have kids, and there's one if you don't have kids. They don't have kids, so this is the route that would apply to them. So getting divorced without kids is a fairly simple procedure. We're actually gonna have, we have it in the blog schedule for like April, maybe April or May. We have a post coming out about how to get divorced without kids. When you have kids, it's more intense. Like, you're forced to go to counseling for like 3 months, I think, because they want you to repair the marriage and, you know, for the kids. So it's a little bit more it's a little bit more intensive. Now, look, this thing, when you're an international traveler, liver, whatever, like, this divorce thing can be kind of a pain in the butt. So I will tell you my situation. When I came here, I was married, and then he sucked, so we got divorced. And but I couldn't get divorced in Croatia, even though I had lived here for 6 months, because you can only get divorced in Croatia if your marriage is registered here, and we couldn't register our marriage here because neither one of us was a Croatian. So it's like a kind of a catch-22. So we got divorced in Texas because we both have Texas driver's licenses. So I had to, and don't tell anybody this is between us, okay? Perjured myself in front of a Texas judge and said that I lived there for the last 6 months, which wasn't true. But what else was I supposed to do? I didn't live there for 6 months. I had lived here 6 months, but I couldn't get divorced here. What the frack? Like, I'm not going to Guam to live there for 7 days so I can get divorced here, even though that's what my husband proposed. He's like, oh, if you pay for like my flight and my costs for 7 days, I'll go get us divorced in Guam. I was like, oh, really? Remind me why I'm divorcing you. So anyways, that's the situation on divorce. We're ending on a high note, Marilla, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay. So, those are our questions for today. Thank you so much for being here. I really love these little Friday things that we're doing. And next week we have a special guest. I'm so excited. So in 6 days from today, my best friend in the whole wide world is moving here from Dallas, Texas. And any longtime fans of 5 Question Friday have seen him. He has come on 5 Questions twice. He joined me remotely from Texas once, and then last summer when I was in Texas, he joined me on the 5 Question Friday when I was in Austin. So he's going to be here next week. So I'm going to drag him on 5 questions with me. He doesn't know it yet, but he doesn't care. He loves the Insta. He'd be happy to join me. So I'm really jazzed about that, and that's pretty exciting. And he's going to be my upstairs neighbor. How cool is that? So that's all I got. I hope you guys have a really wonderful weekend. If you have any questions you want answered, send us a DM, and I perhaps will answer it here on a future 5 Question Friday. Thanks for being here. See you later. Happy Friday. Bye, 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 bye. Replay in my profile soon. See you later, Vita will say.